Hello, this is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Today's video is the entire Elantra sequence that is around the time of the crime, the first 4 passes, and then the vehicle leaving. And then tomorrow I'm going to put out the final version where it has I'm going to use there's 7 minutes that the crime took place in, and that's what I'll be putting in the video, and you'll be able to watch it. So I'll probably speed up all of the looping, maybe make that 200%, maybe 300%, and then put in those 7 minutes in the exact time that the Elantra is stopped and parked. So if you guys could hit that like button for me, I'd really appreciate it. Share the video and subscribe. So currently in the video, it's already gone on Indian Hills Drive, drove by the A&W, the Ridge Road camera, just now passed the Linda Lane camera number 1320. And now it's entering in the King Road, then Queen Road, just past 1112 King Road. Probably drove pretty slow right in that area based on the timing. And then it comes around behind 1330 Linda Lane camera. Then it goes back behind, and on this pass, the vehicle stops for over a minute. And it literally sits right there for over a minute. And keep in mind, I sped this video up 350%. You can obviously see that the seconds are really zipping by. I think it's a little easier to see the stalking behavior when you see it sped up. So after the vehicle was parked there for about a minute, it takes off. And then the 1112 King Road camera takes a picture of it, and then it goes around. And on this pass, it goes down Ridge Road and passes the camera that I think it's you'll see it as it goes down here off of Ridge Road. And there's some points where Elantra Drive and Ridge Road seem to be the same road. I don't know how it's actually what the official thing is, but like right now that could be Elantra Drive or Ridge Road. And right here, this is the only time it takes this right hand turn. The other times it actually does U-turns right there and goes back up north again. So in this second pass here, the vehicle must have stopped somewhere or drove incredibly slow, because there's like a couple minutes of missing time that you have to account for. There aren't a lot of cameras in that area. And then it looks like right here the vehicle sort of slows down, and I'm doing this based on the timing. So I think it kind of slowed down right there, and then it came in, and then based on the timing again, it appears it slows down right in front of 1122 King Road and then goes back behind. This is pass number 2, and 1330 picked it up again. And right now the headlights are flashing on 1127 King Road. Now the vehicle only stopped for 20 to 30 seconds that time behind 1122 King Road. And this is pass number 3. Now this pass is the most complicated. The vehicle drives all over the place and doesn't really go back into the area of King and Queen Road until way after around 356. So as you can see, the vehicle comes back around behind here. And this time, it does a U-turn after it goes down Ridge Road. You'll see that here in a second. So it takes a left. And I actually remember all of this from driving out there. If I went there right now, I'd be able to drive this exact route just based on memory. And then right down here we have 451 Paradise. That's Paradise Drive there. Now look how it takes a turn and does a U-turn according to the lights. So that means the camera on 451 Paradise Drive does not actually film the road, or it'd be really obvious. It probably shows that the lights come down, and then you can see the lights go back up north again quickly. And based on the timing of the vehicle driving by right there again, they know that that's what the vehicle was. Now apparently it does drive down in this direction because it was heading north on Elantra Drive behind 1119 King Road. And it must have parked over here somewhere, because if it had kept driving farther, it would have been seen on the Linda Lane camera, on the 1320 camera. And then had it gone into the King and Queen Road area, it would have been seen on 1112 King Road, but it wasn't. So it just drives back up this way again after likely parking over there. And then the vehicle goes back around, and I think it does another U-turn. And that's going to be again on the 451 Paradise Drive camera. But based on the wording, it doesn't sound like the camera absolutely picks up the full vehicle right there. They just know based on the timing that that's the same vehicle. And it does a U-turn, and then it drives back up here. Now again, because they believe the vehicle did a U-turn in the timing of it, they see the light coming down and then going back up again. And again, that matches the pattern of the vehicle. It just seems to keep doing loops all around. And then here it comes up again, and I think it drives by and does the same thing, because it does not show up on the 1112 King Road camera. It must park over here and is just waiting. I think he's forcing himself to kill time because he's amped up and he wants to do this right now, but it's not time. The lights aren't off. He needs to make sure that they've gone to sleep, and gives them the maximum chance of success. Now I have it do a U-turn right there on Linda Lane, but obviously it likely didn't turn there because we don't have footage of that. However, the online 5-hour video of that camera is missing precisely that time frame. It's crazy. So I do have the vehicle turn around right there and head back, because it does not show up on the Ridge Road camera. So it must have turned around. And then I have it stop right here for a little bit of time. I'm not sure if that's really what happened there. I mean, if I'm just delaying for time here, it likely stopped somewhere else, because right here is right in the middle of the road. So it could have slowed down somewhere else, etc. But in a moment here, it passes the camera there. But I just have him there, just trying to think that maybe he's looking and waiting and watching the house. But he could have stopped anywhere else. There's a whole bunch of different places where the vehicle could have stopped. And now it goes back into the area on King and Queen. It goes back behind 500 Queen Road, and then that's picked up on the Linda Lane 1330 camera. And then the vehicle comes around, headlights flash right there on the 1127 King Road, and then the vehicle parks. And then this is where it sort of gets interesting, because if that is the time frame, then that means the DoorDash driver, if he did drop it off at 3:59 precisely, would have had to pass the white Elantra with Brian Kohberger in it, around 3:58:30. And then because Kohberger saw that vehicle, and as he was driving up Elantra Drive, he could see that it pulled up in front of the house, he's like, I gotta go back and check. So he does a U-turn and heads back, and based on that timing, if true, the DoorDash driver's already left the area, However, if he dropped it off later, then he's likely still there, and maybe that's why Kohberger just drove by and did not go into the complex, if you will, at the, on that pass, and that he continued on. So based on some sounds like key fob information, the DoorDash driver may have got there at 3:59 and 47 seconds, not 3:59 flat. So if that was later, then that means that Kohberger could just see that there were lights on at King Road and then drove by King to avoid driving in there and being spotted. And I guess we don't absolutely know what the timing is. Now, it could be one of those companies that it takes the last known full second, doesn't do any rounding, but doesn't have individual seconds. So it could have been 3:59 and 47 seconds, but it only says 3:59 on the clock. So since the DoorDash was just there, Kohberger comes in the white Elantra, missing its front plate, goes back behind 500 Queen Road, and then he turns around and does a 3-point turn back here. There's the vehicle right there. Does a 3-point turn. And then he goes back probably to check some more, because maybe he saw the lights on in Xana's room after she just picked up the DoorDash. Then he does a U-turn at King and Queen, drives by pretty slowly here, and then I think right around in this area he starts accelerating. And then he goes around right in here, and then the lights at 4:07:47 hit the 1127 King Road address, and then the vehicle sits here for about 13 minutes. And so right now Kohberger is doing the blood spatter mitigation, putting stuff around the vehicle, maybe a plastic bag, etc. He's getting ready, and pretty soon he's about to exit the vehicle, probably about right now-ish, and then walks down the hill, enters the house at around, let's say 4:10, goes in there. Xana already has the meal. They've probably already eaten quite a bit of it. Did she go back to the kitchen and somehow see Kohberger and said, hey, there's somebody here? And that's what drew his attention to them. Were Xana and Ethan first, or was it Kaylee and Madison upstairs? I think Madison, I used to think they were all targets, that he went to the house to target all of the women there, but then just later on it feels like his target was Madison Mogan. So right now it's 4:12. He's likely already killed a couple individuals, maybe one at least right now. And had he gone upstairs first, he is probably pretty close to killing both individuals, Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogan, by this time. And then perhaps he goes down the stairs at this point. Then he starts interacting with Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin. There's fighting going on. And then at some point, he re-interacts, when I say re-interacts with Xana, and I think she's already injured, but a second time that he's encountered her, he says, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," so that she doesn't yell. And then he finishes her off. She may have just been trying to struggle and make her way out of there, and then he attacks her. She was making sort of a whimpering sound, and then was attacked, and then she fell, and there was a large thud sound. That's right around this time right here. And that's when the dog Murphy, Kaylee's dog, was barking and continuing to bark. And then just moments after that, I think Kohberger, that's when he passes Dylan, and then he heads out to his vehicle, takes off his bloody clothing with the gloves that he has on, puts all of that stuff in a plastic bag, and then takes his gloves off, inside out, puts those in the bag, and puts it all into maybe another bag, and then completely tries to mitigate his blood spatter. And I think it's interesting how people always say, how could he do that? Well, if there is somebody that can do it, it's going to be a criminology doctoral student. All right, so now it's 4:20 and 20 seconds or so, and he's likely getting into his car. He's ready to go now, and now he's going to take off right now at 4:20 and 40 seconds. Boom, he's out of here, leaving at a high rate of speed. 4:21:04 or 5, he's spotted behind 1119 King Road, and then he heads out basically the same way he would go on his loops, but this time he keeps going straight and then takes a right on Conestoga, and that heads down south at this point. And then it headed west for a little bit there. Now it's heading south again, and makes its way to Palouse River Drive, and then heads east. Yeah, so I guess he was heading west when he got onto Conestoga. Then he takes a right on Highway 95, and then heads on out. And then, just moments later, he should have pinged near Blaine, but it was about 15 or 16 minutes late when his phone pinged near Blaine. So there's 16 minutes of missing time after the killings. So did he get rid of the knife and bloody clothing somewhere in those 16 minutes? I guess we don't know. All right, everybody. Thank you all very much for watching. I'm going to put out the final version of it tomorrow. That includes the 7 minutes where the attack happens in an animated form. Make sure to watch that. And leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Thank you again for watching. And, as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.